All right, we should be live. Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. Right, so last time we left off with a lot of fixes, and today we're just going to start working on actual new stuff. Finally, after fixing a whole bunch of various bugs. Many bugs. So I think we can delete some branches. I might have already done this. Delete. Connection point fixes can be deleted. And we are good to go there. So I have a Ghost of Pirate Captain branch that's still waiting to be merged. This was made before I stopped programming, working on the game for a while, when we had to make the chapter 3 final boss. So I need to go back and now take a look at that. And it has been a minute, so we also need to merge changes from master into here, so everything is kind of up to date before we actually submit this branch. The only reason this branch wasn't finished was because I haven't playtested it. So today we get to playtest it. And then we'll be working on more of the Chapter 4 monsters. I don't know where the Chapter 4 monsters are. Chapter 4... Merchant, am I... Oh, Chapter 4 monsters didn't exist in this branch yet. We still have to merge all that. Right. So I'm going to go to master, and we're just going to merge master. This way, this branch is up to date. Oh, so this is... we want this, the incoming for the to-do. Because of course that has our latest stuff in it. Start bringing branch up to date. Okay. So now we're going to try to merge master in. And this time, we have some conflicts, which is expected. We're going to take the incoming, because it's more up to date. Actually, I wonder if I should I'll probably just rebuild this anyway. Take incoming because it's more up to date again. And this will keep current because we're going to rebuild anyway. Merge up to master. So now we've brought this slightly out of date branch up to date. Hi there, Blah. Welcome. Good to see you. So with this in mind, let's go ahead and delete the old game pack. I am forced to stay awake for another hour and a half and almost fell asleep 3 times midday today. When you say forced, like you need to stay awake because you're on a strict schedule? Is that what's happening? Okay, so delete that. We need to rebuild the game. Something time-gated in a game, and if I don't do it today, I miss out on a lot. Ah, yes. Catering to a game's release schedule. Classic. Classic Blah. Alright, so we're rebuilding now. I guess we're at that point where you're at that age where it's like, oh, you just kind of have time to just jump into whatever game you want to... What game? I'm curious. Something's coming out, you have to jump on it. Alright. That has built successfully. It will now rebuild the game pack. It might be complaining about game pack, default game pack? Yes. Also, I'm going to pin this because every time I want to know what the error is, it doesn't tell me. So putting that here would fix that. So... FF14, I am now a submarine lord. Not doing it today means I lose around 6 million gil. Damn. I remember when I was very much attached to a lot of the Final Fantasy XIV stuff. The game has a lot of like different time limits on things and you have to kind of keep up with them. And I remember I maintained my house for well over like a year after I stopped playing, which is like, why? That's literally like $200-ish. But I had no reason to. You own 17 houses? You're paying for all those? Why? Oh, buddy. Yeah, but you have to log into all of them and every month. That's nuts. So in other words, you're just addicted to the game. Again, I don't know how addicted you were before. I just remember we used to play a lot. That's all. So I have to do this pack ID thing again, which means I need to hide this for just a second. Oh, actually, go over... Y'all can look at this one. It's complicated. Everything's complicated, isn't it? Hack key. I don't remember that last time I accidentally showed it on stream. I'm like, oops. But that's fine. You can make a new one eventually. I'm not really worried about it. But we should be good. I hope you are doing well. I hope anybody out there that's watching is. We're currently going through a storm. Well, not a storm, more like a cold front. So it is very much very cold. What is this complaining about? Item attribute get. I'm chilling. Haste percent does not exist. Set base stat haste percent. Oh. That's weird. Well, I swore we merged into Master, and Master should have those stats. For that, we can go into... I think it's just configuration or player. No? Where are all the stats? Items? Items, stats. So if we look in this file, haste percent does not exist. Did I not bring that over? Or does it actually not exist in Master? If so, where is haste percent? Because that is a very important part of the stat system. At least now it is. So we're gonna take a look at the files in this commit and just see what it says. Items, item stats. Haste percent is at the bottom. So for whatever reason, this file is not up to date even though I merged with Master. We can see this is the Master branch, at least the latest commit in the Master branch. I'm going to pull it again and see what it says. This merge will change 0 files. Oh, is my local master branch out of date? Maybe that's the problem. We need to fetch. Maybe I'm not up to date. It says there's 27 commits incoming. This looks like everything we're up to date with, so why? Huh. Yeah, something's wrong here. I'm just gonna stash the changes real quick. And master. Apparently I'm not up to date. There we go. It's like my local branch wasn't. And that was messing with everything else. Okay. Now let's go back here. We'll unstash the executable. We'll pop, which will bring it back. And then we will now merge into the local master branch, which should be up to date. Okay. Then we have conflicts again. Oh, let me commit this real quick. Or I can just stash these. We have to rebuild the game anyway. Whatever. Okay. Okay, so this should have most of the changes. And so now, I don't know why these are separate. I mean, they're brand new, but all other files are changed. I guess this is just merge master. Merge with remote master, because we technically merged with the local master, which wasn't everything we needed. And now we have everything, so we can now build and run. And hopefully, we're good to go. So the Ghost of Pirate Captain, there's multiple phases to it. I think the only thing, like, I'm pretty sure the fight I had pretty well down in terms of all the mechanics. I think it just needed maybe some little polishing things. So if anything, this testing will reveal anything we want to polish up a little bit. Obviously we have to do sound effects at some point too. I have to go back and do the final boss of Chapter 2 sound effects as well. Usually the sound effects are the last thing things we implement for the games. So we will see. Oh, I have to do this one more time. That's fine. Silly pack key. Hi Moros, welcome. Pack key. Good to see you. Okay. So I got that, so we can get rid of this. I need to test a feature branch containing a boss fight that I implemented not too long ago and make sure it looks okay. My hunch is that there's some polishing that needs to be done to it still, but it's been sitting there since I last looked at the code a few months ago, So I just need to take care of it and merge it into master. So that's what we're doing right now. Also, does my controller work? Yes. It does. Also, the mysterious command.exe box has made its debut again. It appears to do every time I plug in controllers, if the Windows UAC dialog pops up, and if I switch user. Oh, I'm really excited for PGE 3. Yeah. Like, it's kind of awesome what it contains. Javid was talking to me about how I would, if I would implement this game in PGE 3, like, I would be very interested in seeing how to go about doing a full conversion from 2 to 3. Obviously, it's not done yet, so it's not really clear how that's gonna work, but I'm sure that will come up soon enough. Also, it's still complaining about haste percent. I'd imagine if I merged everything into master, or merged from master, everything should be included, including the new stat. Yet it's not in this file. Oh, for sure. This game itself does use a shader, but it's very much like jerry-rigged. Like, I literally just inserted it in the code itself, the engine, so it's sitting there. So it would be nice to be able to write that shader in PGE 3 and just be like, okay, use this shader, run code. Go back to normal shader. Like, that part I'm super excited about, because right now, if I could find it... Shade. Whee! It's always fun going through this insane... Okay. Yeah, it's right here? Yeah. So this is not the default shader anymore. This uses basically to create a mosaic effect. It's a mosaic effect shader. That is super nice. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to convert this to that too, but it's nice that the engine itself will support all that now, so I don't have to do that mess anymore, right? God, that would be awesome. This file is not up to date though, which has me concerned. Are we not up to date with master? I said merge with remote master here, but we're not up to date. Merge master into Ghost of Pirate Captain. It's like it didn't do it. Yeah, we're not up to date. Yes, this is what I want. Why is it not doing it? Ugh. Okay. Local stash again. I'm just gonna amend with the previous commit, which has the same exact things. And then try this again. If anything, I'm about to just load up a terminal and do this. Oh, here we go. Finally. I'm like, there should be way more changes to merge with master here. Bring in these changes. This one, let's take incoming. Keep current. Okay. Now we're merging with master. For real. We get to do the actual for real that has every file up to date. Because this branch is so old that a lot of the new stuff is missing. You're not wrong. It does. Okay. I assume that file is up to date now. Ah yes, my friend, haste percent. Now the game will no longer complain that haste percent does not exist. Whoa, Moros. But yeah, other than that, today's goal is to work on at least one, if not two, of the new Chapter 4 monster behaviors. So, we will be working on... So Skeleton Archer is basically a reskinned copy of an earlier monster. So that's fine. That won't be hard. And then the Skeleton Captain is brand new. It will be mounted on another monster. So there was a goblin, I forget what it was called, but it was a goblin on a boar. I think it was just called Goblin Boar Rider. And so we'll be using similar code for the Skeleton Captain to have the Skeleton Captain riding on a horse. And they have, looks like, 2 main abilities. Captain speeds up over 1 second to a 50% move speed buff and charges. Once it passes the player's position, it slows down to normal speed over 2 seconds, then turns in a circle and starts another jousting attack. Okay, it's very much like a unit that constantly rides around, sweeps around, and charges again. Makes sense. Flag, when the Skeleton Captain gets in a 150 range of a non-boss or Skeleton Captain unit, it drops a flag that hastens any non-boss or non-Skeleton Captain unit within 600 range of the flag. Recently we implemented the hasten buff, so that is already implemented. Every unit under this effect gets 30% attack, move, animation speed, which again, we implemented already. Mage units will recover additional 2 mana per second. The mana system does not exist yet, so we will, when we make this, we will also implement the mana system. I have to once again grab the pack ID because it got overwritten. That's fun. And the flag can be destroyed, so the flag is its own monster. 20-second cooldown on the ability, and will not be used if another flag is present. I wonder if that's per Skeleton Captain, or if that's for every Skeleton Captain's flag. I guess I could ask our designer to confirm. I'm trying to think what will make the most sense here. So, if there's a flag still up, it won't be used. Like, it won't be placed, but I think it makes sense if each one can place their own flag, and maybe they'll be smart about it. Like, if one is already there, it's not going to place another one right next to it, because one flag already covers that space. It would only drop a flag in any area that's not covered by an already existing hasten flag. I think that makes the most sense. That would be kind of fun. So we'll do that. And then we have Skeleton Fire Mage. This is where the mana stuff starts coming into play, because these actually have mana. Frost Mage, Lightning Mage. And then we have some other monsters. Luckily, some of these use the exact same behaviors as older monsters, so the only new stuff we're implementing are all these mages. Which is why we'll probably be done with Chapter 4 monsters soon. The only thing we'll still need are the graphics. Okay, so I can finally load into the game, which means it is time to test the boss implementation and make sure everything at least works. Polishing will have to happen at some point. You just have to make sure everything is functioning for the time being. Also, this character is overpowered, so I'm going to change the equipment real quick so we get a more realistic idea of the length of the fight. So I'm just going to unequip weapon. Actually, it would make sense to unequip everything here, since this character is cheated. It was cheated by accident, because when I first made the level up system, I think when the level up occurred, it like kept leveling up my character. So it's at level 34 instead of like 7. So it got cheated in entirely by accident, which is fine. Oh. It has a pretty large range. This is also the final boss of Chapter 3, so it actually will have more health than the octopus boss. Oh, we have a crash. So the coin flipping worked, but I have a crash. Interestingly enough, it's on a mem copy, so that can't be good. Let's see. Uh-oh. So, it's trying to read, I think, Final Ghost Saber count. Maybe it doesn't exist? That's gonna be my guess. So, let's go looking at the config. Apparently this variable is supposed to be in here for this boss. So we're gonna pull up the strategies file. And inside, where'd it go? Oh. So it was called Final Ghost Saber Count. It is indeed there. It says 10. It's under an int I in a standard ranges iota view. So what's it actually complaining about? Like it couldn't copy this string? That doesn't make sense, right? This is in a... Oh, I see the problem. This is in a lambda function, so this is referring to a different local instance. This is a macro. And so what the macro does is it makes an assumption that whatever m is, it will create a configuration, or it will grab a configuration from that value. Everything else is correct though. So I'm not sure why that would be a problem. How did I start coding? When I was a kid, I was very interested in like SNES and NES games at the time. I thought they were fascinating and I wanted to learn how to make some kind of game. And so it was during the dial-up days, and obviously during the dial-up days the internet was very small, and also it was very hard to get anything. If you wanted to download a 3 megabyte game, you would have to wait hours. So I thought to myself, instead of downloading a game, why don't I download something that makes games and I can spend all that time making them instead of waiting for something to download I might not even like or play, and then I have to do the process over and over. And so I ended up grabbing Game Maker, which at the time was only a couple megs, and that literally changed my life. I just did that all day. I would just sit in Game Maker making all sorts of random stuff. And it had like a drag and drop system, so at first I wasn't even programming, really, right? I was just putting together like, oh, on a step event, move this monster, or when I press a key, do this. Which is naturally an easy way to start out with programming visually, and then over time I started looking at the help documentation and realizing, oh, to do more advanced stuff I need to learn how to code. So Game Maker has Game Maker language. I learned that and started writing some code. And then I realized other programming languages uses the same concepts that GML did, and everything kind of took off from there. I started being able to write programs in things other than Game Maker, because I realized that Game Maker had a lot of limitations and the engine wasn't so great back then. It's a lot better nowadays. And yeah, here we are. We're at where we currently are today. And there was a point where I, at least for C++, I realized, hey, I wanted to have something where I can just put stuff on the screen. It's no fuss, it's not hard to set up, and I can make everything work. And I can kind of like customize everything, right? So that's the benefit of something like the Pixel Game Engine. It was all self-study. So I do programming as a hobby. Done it for 20 plus years. It's a lot of fun. I might try and get a job with it, we'll see. Yeah. It's a fun story. I like sharing that story with others. But yeah, I'm just all self-taught. I do it for fun. It is a lot of fun. So, I think I have to do monster Get int. I think we have to resort to this because I think there's an issue with using the macro here. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. No, this is a different system. Never mind. We're gonna have to go into debug for this because it's not clear what is wrong in release. So we're gonna have to get to this point again and see what's going on in the debug build, which is gonna be a pain. So I'm probably going to make sure I can defeat the boss quickly now instead of gimping myself. I could also make a command that just sets the boss health lower. I could do it that way. We'll see. But yeah, it looks like something has gone wrong here and we're not sure what. So we're about to find out. Hopefully it's something not stupid. Also, at some point I need to go through and get rid of a lot of these warnings. My project has... oh, this is covering it, but over 4,000 warnings now. So, just a lot of stuff to clean up, but with how much I still have to develop for the game, I don't really intend to do that for a while. Moros' computer programming journey started when he was 7, and Dad came home with a Tandy Coco 2. He loaded programs off audio cassette tapes, and it came with a book as big as our family Bible. That's kind of fun. Do this. Just equipping everything, that way I have the most stats I could have. I think we're good. I don't think the multi-shot one is as good as Lethal Tempo. Increases attack speed by 5% with each strike up to 25%. I think that's better. Yeah, we'll go with that. Also, the game's gonna run a little slower because we're in debug, but I don't think it's gonna be the worst. It should be playable. This is roughly the frame rate I get on my really old Linux PC when I was testing my game, so I kind of got used to playing at this frame rate too. It's only a little bit shy of 60 though, so it's not too bad. But if I wanted to try to optimize the game, that PC would definitely be the one I try to optimize for, because it's like a laptop from 2010 or something. How would you go about learning to code if you were to get into it now? I would first find... okay, so we were able to replicate the bug in debug mode, that's good. I would first try and find something you're interested in doing. So for most people, it would be like, oh, I want to make a game. Like, you have like a dream game in mind. Maybe you're trying to make money, right? And then find some kind of content creator that caters towards that kind of content. So at least you have an idea of what's out there. And then I would go and I would first view... Oh, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Is it CS100? CS50 Harvard. Yes. So if you haven't seen this before, this right here, the CS50X 2025 lectures, is a whole course, a whole Harvard course that goes over a lot of programming concepts. It is very, very good. It is very in-depth. The instructor is fantastic, and it teaches you a lot of programming concepts and gets you exposed to things, right? Like a typical college course has a lot of breadth. It tries to get you exposed to many things, so you can see like, oh, this is out there, this might be what I'm interested in. And you go from there. I think doing this would be great. I think this takes about 40 hours to watch. Apparently there's a 2026 one. I haven't seen the 2026 one, but I assume it's the same idea. I don't think his courses change. Molly Rocket? Casey Muratori mentioned. Yeah. Is that this one? Oh, wow. This is cool. Apparently I've seen this one. I remember that video. That one went viral. But yeah. He also did... Oh, he does the Handmade Hero. That's really cool. Okay. That's the same guy. Yeah. Like, literally all from scratch. It's very fascinating. That's awesome. Good rec. We'll do this. Okay. It literally says string too long. That must mean like we never hit a null character, so something's broken. Okay. Something's either corrupt or messed up. So it looks like monster is a valid pointer to a monster, so we're good there. It looks like we entered here, tried to construct a string that we couldn't create. Thank you, Moros. Thanks for stopping by. Good to hear from you again, and good luck. Take care. So, we can't read strategy. Okay, that looks like our problem. We can't read strategy for some reason. So, strategy comes from up here. So, something is calling it that doesn't have the proper strategy in it. So we go to hurt damage info. This is the previous call in the stack. Until we meet again. Ghost of Pirate Captain. Okay, so that's correct. Now, does it pass it correctly? Strategy on hit function is empty. Wait, so this ran, but it's empty. I'm a little confused. Okay. Let's back up. So what was supposed to happen here? It looks like a monster got hurt. The ghost of Pirate Captain got hurt. They got hurt for 176 damage via player ability. Okay. So then we go into the internal hurt function. And we did all of this. And then we got down to here, which said if strategy on hit function, which it says it's empty. So for some reason, we ran a function that doesn't exist. Because you can see the next thing that happens is we're in here. Does that mean it does exist, or does it not? Here it says that it's empty, so I don't think it exists. But why then did it continue into here? This line sets the strategy function. Something's wrong. Something's saying like, okay, set the function, but here we set to blank. If we set to blank, does it kill this? Do we have to do it like this instead? I'm a little confused because now... I'm starting to think that's the issue. Like, let's say we set this function to blank. Then we go to the next line. Well, what's the next line? The next line can be anything. We technically overwrote the function, so now it's stuck in this weird state where it's going to another piece of code that doesn't exist anymore. I think that's why we're ending up in this, like, trying to construct a string, can't find the null point, the null character, end up with a string that's too big, right? These are all fail-safes for, hey, your stack got corrupted at some point, you are in a bad place. So something really messed up with the code there. And I think that's the issue, is we can't be setting this while we're inside this function, running other code. So I think I messed up there. So we're gonna try this again. Still have all my gear. We just had to get to the point where he throws a coin. Now the coin part itself, I think, is where I wanted to add a, like, tutorial text. I wanted to say something like, return the captain's coin to... I'll think of how to word it, but we have to return to the treasure box. Return the coin to the treasure cache, I think is what we call it. So we'll do that. I think that's the only thing we want to add. It'll be an overhead text, so that should be supported just fine. Okay. So we can see the game no longer crashes. We can see the boss is now hiding. So the way this mechanic works is the boss will start applying a curse to you if you can't get the coin back to Oh, I see. It says this treasure does not belong to you, so you can pick it up, and then it just tells you, kind of ominously, I guess that works. But yeah, with the ghost captain hiding, you have to go find him and basically reveal him, so yeah. But you saw we were cursed for a minute until we returned. Oh, now something else happened. Probably similar problem? Okay, same thing, right? Similar issue. This time strategy on hit function is valid, but the strategy gets messed up. Why does the strategy get messed up? Here it gets passed in proper. I'm starting to think this just has to happen outside of here. Because I think what's happening, we're calling this function. Okay, so we're in here, we're doing stuff. Then we set it again, but we're still in here trying to exit. So then we end up in someplace bad. So this has to happen later, probably in the hiding phase, when this is no longer needed. It should never be fixing or adjusting itself while it's inside of there. So whatever phase, okay, Pirate's Treasure. We set our phase when we hit to final or normal. I guess that means in both final and normal, we would do this. Normal and final. In both scenarios, we want to reset the strategy on hit function. That way this doesn't break. This will always set phase to hiding once it's done, so it only runs one time. And that's it. It will work. And hopefully no more crashes. But yeah. I think this is why I couldn't commit this before, is because we were having these crashing problems with this particular code. Okay, one more time. Hopefully we're good. Okay, so he's gotta do the coin thing, then he disappears. Give coin back, go find him. And it still happens. Why? It's just the strategy is not kept here. Okay, so I have a theory. I think it has to do with how we're using this as a reference. And this is getting changed, right? So I'm starting to think because it's a reference and it's not copied, it messes up later on. Like, this is fine for whatever reason. It's a shared pointer, that's why. This is a local variable. Const bool. I think we have to copy this. Maybe that's our issue. Alternatively, we could just say strategy equals strategy name. I think that's just masking what the true problem was, which is this variable is either getting overwritten or going like getting used for something else and it's being deleted at some point. I just can't really think of anything else that would really break it. At least not right off the bat. How strange. Maybe we have to rewrite it. Because the strategy name not sticking... Again, what's being passed in is the strategy name, so... For some reason, the variable that it's actually holding isn't matching with the strategy name that's brought in, which should be exactly the same. So maybe copying it will fix it. I hope. We can hope. I like that the mana meter now also goes up and down per pixel. Looks really nice now. Okay. So we're going to do this again. Okay. Oh. Is that supposed to happen? Oh. We're on final already? Wait. I'm confused. What is going on? We're not on final. Where are we? Monster. Phase. Phase is... Ghost of Pirate Captain. $1,002. Right here. Final. We are on final. So we have cannon timer. I feel like something else is supposed to happen. Advanced cannon phase. I have to figure out what this code does again. So... Yes. Final cannon timer is 5 seconds, so the final cannon shots should be coming out faster. I also see there is a lot of logging left behind, which I think was intentional. So I wonder if this slashing animation is supposed to be constant. That's what it looks like to me. Okay. So Pirate Captain, Ghost of Pirate Captain does slash. It's supposed to be a one-shot animation. So if we were gonna repeat it, we would need another one, like a repeat slash animation. Either that or we change the animation abruptly over and over. Which we could do. But we assume, like, cannon timer is slowly incrementing. So here is cannon timer. Don't know how we would see that value, so let's do this. It would be get float. Okay, so it's currently 0.39 and it's supposed to go up to 5. So if we were to advance another frame, we should expect it to go up. It doesn't seem to be going up. I don't know why. What? There. Okay. I don't see why the frames aren't... the value's not advancing over time. It's like it stopped. But we definitely know it's still running. It's at least getting to this line repeatedly. Let's see if it gets to this line repeatedly. Okay, it does eventually. So this just doesn't give us what we want. For some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I have to hit refresh manually? It looks like I have to hit refresh manually for some reason. It's like it doesn't get evaluated every time. That's kind of unfortunate. So it is going up. And then we get these, which is going to do its own thing. And then it's going to advance the cannon phase. So when it calls this, this is presumably what changes the cannon timer to keep creating more bullets. So we would be in here. Cannon timer is now 0, which it is represented here as 0. We could also look at the cannon phase. I feel like I've never used this before. What? Unhandled exception occurred. Oh, get int. There. So it's currently 0. So the cannon phase is 0 right now, although I look here, precise bombardment is cannon shot type number 1. I don't see anything that is going to break this, but I also don't see why it's not doing anything either. At least it's not apparent it's doing anything. When I look in game, it appears that nothing is happening cannon-wise. Oh. So we get like one bullet, right? But we don't get multiple. So something's missing, like a loop or something, or the count itself is wrong. I think that's the big thing. Also, this is blocked off because we can no longer deposit it. I don't know why the hitbox is massive though. That's funny. Let me take a look. Pirate's treasure. I think it happens in here. So if locked, set the collision radius to get original collision radius plus 12. Oh, it does multiply by the size multiplier though, so what's up with that? I have to divide it by the size multiplier, which is 300%. Is there a collision radius without the size multiplier? Yes. That's the one we want. I don't want the one that's massive. Jeez. Okay. So yes, presumably we've copy-pasted the code that was used to create all the cannons in the first section of the fight again later on. Why is it not happening now? That's another question. Also, there should be multiple phases. That coin phase should happen multiple times. It shouldn't just go straight to, oh, final phase. That could just be how I set this up originally, though. Yeah, the curse thresholds here are 70, 40, and 10%. I'm back, brother's asleep, and I'm not hungry. Oh, welcome back, Moros. We did squash one bug, but there are more, of course. And so now we're looking into that. Specifically, the cannons are supposed to shoot multiple times, and they're not. Why aren't they shooting? Cannon shot count needs to go up. I do that here. I advance cannon phase. Like, this part is, or should be, a copy-paste. So the only thing we saw when we were debugging is the cannon phase was not set right, or it was set to something weird. The phase count. How do we get the phase count? It's monster strategy, cannon cycle. If we look here, the cannon cycle is this. So that should be going just fine. Should be incrementing cannon phase here. So we could probably do some more debugging. Always more bugs. Never ends. Yep. Life of any software developer. But I'm starting to... The gears are starting to turn again. Starting to understand the code I wrote many, many months ago. So that's good. We're figuring things out. Ooh, really? That's interesting. Okay. Okay, before I go further, let me put breakpoints in the places I want. I definitely want a breakpoint once we're at final, but I also want a breakpoint checking our cursed thresholds. So here's our cursed thresholds. Cursed threshold array index. I want to go here first because I want to take a look at those values. So I found out we can debug these. We just have to do some extra work. So it's curse threshold array index. Currently 0. So we're expecting it to check this curse threshold thing. So according to the config file, we use where was it? 70%, 40%, and 10%. So if I were to go back here, if we're on 0, we expect the 0th value to be 0.7, and that would be the monster's health ratio. Okay. Just cycling through these. Get health ratio returns 0.83. Oh, you know what? I think the reason why we go to final is something a little different. I think it has to do with that ternary operator. Where was it? Under hiding? So... No, it was here. We go... Set phase based on if we're on last curse phase. And how do we determine that? If the value count is equal to the array index, which the value count should be... I didn't check what that returned, but... Assuming it returned what we needed, let's go in here. Content. Size is 3. So yes, that should return 3. Oh, thank you. So if 3 is greater than whatever, which it will always be, Yes. And health ratio is less than or equal to this index in the array. So we should hit this pretty soon because 70% is close. Okay, I assume I'm at 70% now. This is makeup. Is special. This didn't happen, so that's a little worrying. I assume we're still in here though. Okay. So it says health ratio returns 74%. Okay, so we're not quite there. A little beefier than I thought, I guess. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so now we're in here. Good. So this increments by 1. So we can see this watch also updated. Toss coin, the toss coin happens. The hiding stuff happens. Then we're over here. I want to see if on last curse phase gets triggered. That's what I'm curious about. Because then we would be here, which I don't think is the case. Okay. So it says it's false. That's good. So what I want to know now... Oh. God. Please don't die. So I know we're not on the last phase because this box is not surrounded by a square. Once it is, then we know we're on the last phase code has been triggered. So... Also, welcome, Guisai. So after we've found the boss, that's when we want to see how we get to the other phase. Because currently it's in hiding phase, which is this code. It's being ran right now, and if we find the boss and hit him, it should be running the code in here, which on last cursed phase is a reference. Maybe that's the issue. So we're currently waiting for a hit on the boss. Okay, so we're in here. Unless curse phase is now set to true. It's actually set, it says 204. So that's broken. Like, yes, a boolean is true or false, but the boolean is also an 8-bit, I assume at least 8 bits, an 8-bit data type, so the value of the true right now is 204, which tells us there's... Usually if you have something like that, it's a bug. I think the reference is also messing everything up there too. I don't think... I'm pretty sure we have to copy that because this function is kind of like standalone. This is a shared pointer, so that's not moving in memory. But these two need to be copies. And I think that will fix that. So we'll try this again. But that's why we're going to the last curse phase, which I think also means certain variables are not being set up, which is why the last curse phase is buggy. The fake last curse phase. They could be size int. Fair. Well, debugger says it's value 204. Usually if it's not 0 or 1, you've done something wrong. I guess that's the way we treat that most of the time. Lambdas are weird. I'm still a little shaky on how to transfer data around in lambdas. So that's something I do need to brush up on eventually. Yeah, like how the captures work in terms of references. Like what is the lifetime of the variables used as references? If the lambda has to linger, then I assume the references have to also have their lifetime stay in memory, otherwise you're breaking everything. That's my assumption, and that's what seems to be happening here, is the lifetime of those variables is not as long as that lambda. So whatever happens to those references, you're on your own. Once those disappear, I would have to do more testing though, but in this case it's produced bugs, so. Okay, he's giving me a coin. Ow. Was it the coin? And then go find the boss. Okay. So now it says we're not on the last curse phase. The value of false is 0 instead of it's not true and it's not some random number. So it looks like it's working as intended again, and we should have 2 more phases like this. So now we can just continue like normal. It looks like he's continuing his AI routine. So everything's working. It would be the same if you call against a null pointer when a reference is no longer legit. That seems right. That about checks out, especially with how our code ended up trying to construct an infinite length string. So, yeah. I keep a single instance of the game state and pass a pointer to that around to everything. Fair. That is a way to do it. It does. I agree. It reduces the complexity by quite a bit, in my opinion. Is there a lot more stuff? Yes. But sometimes everything being in one place isn't a bad thing. Oh, there you are. Okay, so we should have one more phase of this. When the 10% threshold happens, pointers are free. Mostly. So after the 10%, that's when it should be on final phase, which means the cannonballs happen much quicker. Oop. So we should see that shortly. Okay. So we can see the coin has also disappeared. So if we're on final phase, then the coin itself, it should not throw a coin out. As we can see, yeah. And the box is now supposed to be locked. Whoa! Hello? What just happened? I just did some speedrunning tech or something. What? Also, what is this? Is this the sprite for the boss's fade out? Why is it in the corner over here? Also, I'm just dying to the curse. The single cannonball thing still happens. Oh, I'm dead. Good night. Okay. Alright, time to look at that, what just happened in slow motion, because none of that made sense. I have some theories, but I need to review. So, I was not expecting, like, a physics movement bug. That was not on my list of things today. Okay, so it's right after this. Oops. Okay, so hit. The boss is now supposed to move towards the center of the arena. It appears I got hit by something and took 60 damage. I noticed the spinning blades attack went off like this. I just don't know how I took damage like that, which is kind of odd. Kind of wish I could go back 1 second. So the way this attack is supposed to work is now it's gonna send out it's kind of like a bunch of blades with some spaces in between them. So there's supposed to be one here, there'd be one like a little further out, and one a little further out. So for some reason my character starts accelerating this way, but you can see the blades are doing their circling thing. But for some reason I'm getting moved. I haven't taken damage yet. I take damage right there because that makes sense. That's when I actually get hit. But something is moving me at this point. To position 0, I guess. Can you clip and download clips? Oh, you can, yeah. Frame by frame on VLC is much easier indeed. So something is causing this acceleration, and then the character kind of teleports. So the sequence of events is boss gets hit and starts its final phase. The spiral blades appear and start going towards the player. The player starts accelerating towards the corner of the map, takes damage from one of the blades, and then gets teleported while getting hit, presumably because she is close enough to the boss? Because the boss, I noticed the boss does the swinging animation, so that tells me we were in range of getting hit by the boss. And then the player continues accelerating at what appears to be a fast enough speed to go through the corner of, clip through the corner of the water, which I don't think should be possible. Unless we didn't put a wall in one of the corners. which it looks like we did. So the only way to get out of here now is if you accelerate fast enough in one frame to, yeah, jump through the collision boxes. Okay, and then after that, we end up in the corner. So I guess the biggest thing is figuring out why we accelerated into the corner. Also, we learned that the boss's fade out sprite ends up in the corner here. It's just hiding there. It reminds me of how, like, especially old games would just hide sprites outside the screen. Yes. AABB. Axis aligned bounding boxes? Yeah. We kind of do the Super Mario 64 route where we divide every movement into multiple time steps. I think it's like I divide it by 10 or something. So if you had to move 10 pixels in one frame, it would check 1 pixel at a time. Like one unit at a time, which is 1 pixel. If you moved 40 units in a frame, it would check every 4 pixels. I think. It's either divided by 10 or divided by 60. I forget. One of the two. I know Super Mario 64 does something similar. I think they divide it into quarter checks. Yeah. So how does the player... Let's see. What would cause the player to start moving like that? Okay, well, let's see if we can just replicate it. I'm gonna make it so the curse threshold is now at 98% and only have one curse threshold. So that means once we get the boss to 98%, it will go into its final phase, and that'll make it very easy for us to trigger it, and we can try and then debug it. Because it seems the only problems we're having is in the final phase of this boss. I don't know why. Okay, so this should have triggered the final phase. We can see the coin disappears, which also the coin shouldn't be appearing in the first place on the final round. Okay. So different direction this time. I think it does have to do with the swinging blades, though. It's definitely got something to do with them. Okay. Well, once again, we end up in no man's land. So I guess we're gonna take a look at the code. So let's do this. Let's make it so these don't spawn. And see if something happens. So instead of creating these Ghost Saber bullets, I'm just going to get rid of them. See if they're the cause. Because it looks like we do have a player to monster angle variable. I'm not sure why. Player to monster angle is used here in one of the arguments. There must be something going on with that. I find it strange that that's the case. Also, I've been pinged. Oh, that was aha. From the Discord. Okay. So let's see if they're the cause. That would also explain why it's kind of so sudden. Maybe it's because there's so many of them that they're all acting on the player in some way. And so we get suddenly jutted out of the map. Okay. Oh. I didn't even get to do anything this time. Oh, brother's up. Maybe it's bumping into the boss. So there's an idea. What if we bump into the boss? Okay. I'm just going to do that, because I was very close to him this time. Okay, we can see there are many, many cannonballs during this. Okay. I mean, the bump is fine. I would hope the collision code's not messed up, so let's hit you. Okay, so it's definitely once we start final phase. Something causes us to be moved. It's not the Ghost Sabers. But he does perform an animation. So that's telling me he's attacking, right? It looks like he always does that animation. But I think that's because he goes into this. Because in the final phase, when it starts, we run perform animation / south. He will always do that. So I think that's normal. I just don't know why the player ends up moving at all. So I guess the next thing I'm going to do is, what if we just get rid of all this? So in the final phase, nothing happens. Because the first thing we have to do is figure out what even causes this. If it's, is it the boss? Is it physics code? Is it the map? We have to eliminate possibilities. It wasn't the Ghost Sabers, though. I was kind of hoping it was, because I would have been like, oh, maybe the way they spin. I probably should have tested that, like, if I bump and then hit the monster versus don't bump. We'll see. Okay. Oh. So it is the sabers, but then it's not? I'm even more confused because we removed the sabers and it still happened. Right? I don't get it. Let's remove more code. It's like... it just kind of happens. Which means it's gotta be code that's still running regardless of if it's in the final phase or not. So that's everything up here. Which... I mean, there's the shrapnel timer. That's a lambda. These are variables. And... I think that's it. If we get rid of all this code for the final phase, we should expect nothing happens by default. My next idea is to check the set X and set Y code. Like, we could stand completely still and see what calls set X and set Y for the player, or we even have a moved callback. When the player moves, see what's calling that. What triggered it in the first place. So, possibilities, right? So, I'm hitting the boss. Bump the boss. So, we're stable right now. Okay. So, maybe it is the sabers. Let's take a look at how these work. They have, in their constructor, an initial rotation. I'm trying to see the argument we passed for the player specifically. So we have an update. We have an attached monster. On player hit, it causes a knockback. Oh. And then we keep the bullet alive. Does that mean it just keeps hitting the player over and over and over? And running this over and over and over? That's gonna be my guess, right? Like, I think this ignores iframe. Like, this will run even with iframes. Like, it'll keep getting called. Let me double check that. It comes from bullet. Think. iBullet. So we're looking for underscore player hit. Where is that called? Okay. So if player gets hurt, run this. But here's the thing, player wouldn't get hurt if they're invulnerable though, so that shouldn't be an issue. But let's say for a second it is. Let's just... Since we're seeing something weird occur, let's just assume it's an issue. This knockback code is clearly what is causing the player to get sent ridiculously far. I wonder what the actual knockback amount is too, because it shouldn't be ridiculous. Like, if anything, it should be a very sane value. So maybe that's messed up, and then the value is high enough to where the whole game breaks. That's possible. I think we're gonna have to call it pretty soon today. Other things I need to do tonight. But we'll try... At least we have context on where this branch is at now. It looks like the structure of the main code is done, but there's some bugs to take care of. So we would be working on those bug fixes throughout the week. Hopefully they're not too hard. So we should be hitting a breakpoint when the knockback gets triggered by one of these sabers. In fact, I can get hit by it now, right? In theory, that's the same saber. Yes. And it doesn't knock me insanely far, so... You would think that it would be fine. What? Okay, so it's not that function because we get sent away. Are we still moving? Is the next question. So I'm gonna go to the player's code. I'm gonna go to moved, because this would trigger whenever we move. Which it looks like we're not running into right now. Oh, there we go. So we just moved. Let's see what caused this. So we have set pause being called. It's really negative right now. So we have an update. Oh, it says we're colliding with a monster? Oh. We're colliding with the pirate's treasure. Why? Did I mess up this code when I rewrote it? I said, set the collision radius to get collision radius times 2. Oh. Oh no. The monster's collision radius is constantly increasing. We need like a one-time running piece of code here, like a lock state and then a locked state. What does it do when this happens? Does it assign this to 2? I assume it gets assigned to 2. No. That's funny. I didn't know you could do that. That seems dangerous. Here. I guess we never add auto-numbered stuff to the beginning, because that messes up everything. So lock is going to happen first. So really the way I want to write this code is I want lock to be state 2, and we use state 2. So I'm going to change the boss code to set phase Pirate's Treasure to 2. I guess I'm going to bring this back in now, knowing that we're colliding with the Pirate's Treasure, and that's what's causing our bugs. Okay. At least we know the cause. And there's the fix. Hopefully there's a fix. So we're going to the lock phase, which is 1. I'm going to make sure I hardcode the 1. And then it's going to set itself to 2 afterward. Set phase to 2, or locked. So lock is the action of it locking, which we're going to set some variables for. It's just going to increase the collision size by a tiny bit. And then locked is just chilling. Okay. That's an easy fix. At least that makes sense. Versus like some kind of weird physics bug, right? If we've got that, then we should be good to go to fix up the final phase next time, because the cannons still aren't working right. Maybe it's just a timer issue on the phase or something. Something dumb, probably. But if that's fixed, then the main fight pretty much works. Everything else is in place. Why am I breakpointed? Oh. Okay. We're almost at build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Test more Ghost of Pirate Captain. Hopefully without any collision bugs, because we just deleted that. Trigger the final phase. We'll have to get rid of the coin. I'm gonna make a note about that because I keep forgetting. So to do for next time. Remove coin toss for final phase. Oh. Okay. Where's boss? Boss? Where are you hiding? Okay. Alright, so that works. That is also really fast. I might have to slow that down because that's actually really difficult to avoid. Although what it's supposed to be is for ranged characters, it's supposed to be much harder to avoid, but I think the separation is a bit smaller than I would like. I want the separation to be a little larger. I think it could stay fast. It like more punishes range, so you want to be up close, but I think the separation could be a little better because it's so it can be a little easier to dodge. And we can see only one cannon shows up, which again is problematic. For some reason the timer is not working right. But yeah, being far away makes it very hard to avoid those because the speed increases based on the distance. The rotation is a lot faster when it's further away. Try this one more time. Yeah. Yeah, it's very hard to avoid, so we're gonna have to figure something out. I also think changing the phases of the rotation a little bit, like, right now they kind of intersect together, so when they meet, it's hard to avoid them. If I phase it a little better, I think that won't be an issue. Things to work on, so a little bit of tuning and a little bit of fixing. At least the bug's fixed. So basically today we learned not to put expiring reference variables inside of lambdas that will linger. Bad idea. You will get lots of bugs. Fix. I'm just calling them stale references. Stale references inside of Pirate Captain. I should say Ghost of Pirate Captain. Lambda functions. Lambdas. And fix collision size of Pirate's Treasure when entering final phase. This is release build 12342. And with that, we should be good to go for today. Tomorrow we will address some of the balancing that's going on with our code, or our boss, and figure out what's wrong with the bullets. The cannons. So we know we have issues with the cannons right now. I'm gonna write that down too, in our to-do. Issues with cannons. Cannon fire in the final phase. And rebalance ghosts, final phase ghost sabers. I think the rest of the fight is pretty fair. I like how the rest of the fight looks. Cool. All right. So I'm glad we're finally addressing this feature branch here, because this has been sitting here for months. So I'm glad we're finally getting the chance to look at it. Anyway, I'm going to call here for today. So for those of you that tuned in, thanks for watching. And we'll address some more code fixes for the game tomorrow. Take care. Bye.